Business Buzz.
Business Buzz.
The Business Buzz, proudly sponsored by Teddy Clayton of Pan American Insurance, each and every Tuesday and Thursday on Radio Cayman. Call Teddy today at 917-4860.
And now, The Business Buzz, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local business environment. This is where we address the business topics that matter. Here's your host, Sabrina Turner.
Good morning, Cayman, and welcome to Radio Cayman's Business Buzz. I'm your host, Sabrina Turner, and it's a pleasure for me today to put the spotlight on our first segment and having a conversation with Miss Cayman Islands. My guest this morning is Miss Anika Connolly, and we're going to hear all about what her journey has been like and the upcoming big event when it's time to just pass over that crown. Keep it locked right here to Radio Cayman for this discussion, and we're proudly sponsored by Teddy Clayton of Pan American Insurance. Good morning, Anika, and welcome back.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be back on your show. Last time I was here, I had a great time, so I know I'm in store for another great time.
Oh, yes. Very conversational, and it was at the beginning of your journey, which was a pleasure. You were all like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I won. What was the experience like? But now you're like, I'm going to train these young ladies who are vying for the crown. But before we get into that part of our conversation, tell us what positive change you've seen with pageants over the years here in the Cayman Islands.
For me, one of the things that I've observed, I've been in pageants since I was about 9, so it's been a long time I've been in the pageant industry, and one of the main things that I've noticed is the emphasis on community involvement.
Right.
When you look at the Miss Cayman Islands pageant, the Miss Teen pageant, Cayman Imperial Beauties, International Girl, Our Little Miss, everyone is encouraging their girls to be involved and to give back in their community. And I think that's a very important change for us to highlight, because it is so important for us to give back to our community.
Now, how did you view pageants before you decided to enter Miss Cayman Islands? And really, what motivated you to enter a pageant such as this?
For me, pageants have always been a sport.
Interesting.
Yes, it is very much like getting ready for a game or the Olympics. You have to train in order to be your best on the big day of whatever sport you're going to play. And pageants are the same thing. We have to go through rigorous training. It's a little different, but still just as hard and rigorous. Runway training, interview training, working on our wardrobe, working on how we look, our platform, all of that takes a lot of work and effort. So it's never been that stereotypical just putting on a pretty dress and smiling. For me, it's always been about a lot of hard work, commitment, dedication, and lots of long nights.
Long nights and totally consumed in spotlights. Mm-hmm. It's almost like the whole world is watching.
Yeah. Well, when I was on the Miss Universe stage, literally the whole world was watching. But it's such a beautiful feeling that after you've done all of that hard work and you win and you just stand there and you bask in the glory of all of your just amazing hard work and efforts, and you just own that moment. It's like winning the gold medal at the Olympics.
What has been some educational incentives to encourage young ladies to sign up for the Miss Cayman Islands that you've seen?
One of the biggest incentives is the scholarship. So every Miss Cayman has been awarded a scholarship from the Cayman Islands government. And I think this is very important because education is so key to our success in the future. Correct. If you, whatever area of life you want to pursue your career, you're going to need some educational background in it, whether it be marketing, technical trades, whether it's accounting, law, you need that background in education. So having that scholarship available makes it so much easier for you to pursue your dreams.
So what lessons have you learned along the way, and how has it assisted you both personally and professionally to, climb higher heights?
I've learned a lot of lessons. I have to say that this has been a year of learning, not just enjoying the moments, but learning. A few things I learned were, one, to make sure that, you're always ready for the camera. No matter where you go, there's always going to be someone who, like throughout my reign, I found that there's always someone who sees you and they're like, can we get a picture? And I'm like, oh no, I'm
not ready.
Well, thankfully I've learned during the training to always be ready.
Correct.
And then the second thing I learned, the second biggest thing I think I've learned would be to just make sure that if you have a dream or a goal that you want to pursue, to not get overwhelmed by how big your goal is, but to start with small steps.
How do you feel this will take you through life? Like, 1 minute you are the reigning Miss Cayman, and in the next couple of weeks, that baton is passed on to somebody else, but you will always be the holder of Miss Cayman 2017. There are certain things that you carry through with you for the rest of your life. Poised, etiquette, everything. How do you feel you will actually be able to carry that on despite not being the reigning Miss Cayman after the baton has passed?
That has been something I've been thinking about a lot lately with my reign coming to an end. But I think that I just have to continue being who I am. That was one of the main reasons why I won the pageant, I believe, was because of who I was with the training that I've gotten from such a young age of learning how to compose myself in public, how to speak and be a voice for others. And I think that that's something that I'm never going to lose, that I will keep with me and treasure. And a lot of it is keeping up your training and practice.
Exactly.
They say if you don't use it, you lose it, right?
You will very quickly.
Yeah.
You're in tune to Radio Cayman's Business Buzz. I'm your host, Sabrina Turner, and I'm having a conversation with Miss Cayman Islands, Miss Anika Connolly. The 2018 Miss Cayman Islands competition is fast approaching, and that means a new beauty queen will soon be crowned. This year, the event will take place at the Westin on Saturday, August the 11th. Our segment this morning will be consumed. The entire show will be consumed about beauty and pageantry, because after the 8 o'clock news, we will put the spotlight on some of the contestants, if not all of them, will be joining me here in studio to hear more about what it's like building that momentum. Now, I'm going to throw you a little bit under the bus here, Anika, because I know you can handle it. I know you can handle it.
Toastmasters, please don't judge me too hard.
You know the importance. And with social media and everything that's affecting us in every facet you can imagine, understanding that people look at contestants vying in these pageants to fit a certain mold. I'm going there. How have you been able to deal with maybe critics saying she's not the perfect size? Maybe that can go into what is the perfect size? How have you been able to overcome that and deal with it? With body shaming and all that sort of stuff, because we don't appear to fit a certain mold. Notice I said we.
That's women supporting women.
There you go. How have you been able to still carry that torch, on the world stage, knowing you came with a little bit more than the others?
It has been a challenge, I have to say, to deal with the critics who have made it very obvious their views on what a typical pageant queen should look like. For me, what helped me through it was I had to find my self-worth and know my self-worth and understand it and own it.
Right.
It took a lot of introspection, looking at, everything that I came to the table with outside of my physical looks. And when I looked at that, of all that I brought to the table, I said, why is it that just because of how I look, I'm being judged and being found not enough? And I realized that I was enough because of who I was on the inside and everything that I had to offer. And you know what? Thick is the new thin. I'm just saying.
Exactly. I'm watching all of
Yes.
on the media, and you're seeing more and more women, because it looks as though women have the biggest problem with how people perceive them. And it's usually surrounding 98% around weight. It does not, in my opinion, take away from what you can contribute to a conversation, making an organization thrive, or even reigning.
Exactly. And two other things that really helped me to keep within myself and stay confident was, one, having a really good support network. So
Excellent.
For every negative critic that said I wasn't the typical beauty queen, there were at least 3 to 4 other people who were saying that it was so amazing that I could run and to be who I was and win the pageant for who I was, and how much I inspired them to have confidence in themselves. And I think that really helped me to stay confident about who I was and to face that critique.
Excellent. We're going to take our first break for the morning. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about women in business after taking a crown and being an ambassador for our country. Keep it locked to Radio Cayman for much more when we come back right here on The Business Buzz.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs. The Cayman Islands, he hath founded it upon the seas.
Land ownership, like many societies, has been extremely important to the Cayman Islands. Outside of the land grants of 1735 to 1742, the traditional Caymanian method of acquiring land ownership was to claim, mark, work, and build on any unused tract of land. Although the informal system worked well in the earlier days, a more robust system was put into place, which would be to everyone's best interest. The Land Registration Act passed in September 1850, and an official registrar of lands was appointed. Former slaves were able to obtain title to their homes, and larger landowners obtained stronger titles, which permitted them to profit by selling surplus land. The system seems to have worked almost too well, as concerns regarding land ownership became virtually obsolete, and the relatively modest population size did not deplete land resources or create a competitive market. It would not be until 1960 that the land registrations would undergo significant change in order to keep pace with the influence of modern development.
Radio Cayman's historical facts vignettes are proudly brought to you by Cayman National, with branches on all 3 Cayman Islands. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs.
Why rush around paying bills when you can pay most of your bills online? Cayman National offers an extensive list of service providers. Visit CaymanNational.com and log on to our personal or business online banking systems. Not an online banking customer? Contact their customer support team on 949-8300 for more information.
Think life insurance is only about leaving money for your family? Well, think again. Ask Teddy about products that will provide income in case of accidents or illness, here and now. Call Teddy on 917-4860. That's 917-4860.
Wow, looks good. What is that?
Chicken chair.
What did you just say to me?
Chicken chair.
I am not a chicken.
Whoa! I said chicken share. It's from KFC. Bucket of 12 hot wings, 6 pieces of chicken, or 8 tenders. KFC chicken share. Just $12 each.
Oh.
Want some chicken, tenders, or hot wings?
You're sharing your chicken share with me? The new chicken share from KFC. Just $12 each. And it's finger-licking good. Dine at KFC Baytown Plaza, KFC Shedden Road, or KFC at the Strand.
Welcome back to The Business Buzz, the business topics that matter, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local business environment. Business Buzz.
Welcome back to The Business Buzz. I'm your host, Sabrina Turner, and I'm having a conversation with the reigning Miss Cayman, Miss Anika Connolly, who is getting ready to hand over her crown and her reign on August the 11th. The next Miss Cayman pageant takes place at the Westin Resort on Saturday, August the 11th. But I wanted to just touch back base with Miss Anika Connolly to find out what has been going on. And for those of you just joining us in our second segment, we'll be putting the spotlight on Miss Cayman, the pageant itself, and we'll be joined by some, if not all, of the contestants for this year's pageant. Now let's talk a little bit, Anika, about women in business. Former beauty queens have gone on to enjoy great successes in other chosen fields. Many of them are entrepreneurs, and, you know, I want to talk a little bit about you and what have you been getting involved in? Where do you see yourself after August the 11th?
I think I need some advice myself. I am not an entrepreneur in the sense that I have my own company just yet. However, I have made moves towards becoming a pageant coach. So that was one of the main goals that I had decided upon that I would pursue after giving up my crown. And so in this venture that I'm on, just beginning, I would like to say as advice to other young women that are seeking to become entrepreneurs is to not be overwhelmed by the breadth of your goals. It's going to seem very overwhelming to try to start up a business, but you just have to take small steps and start, make a step. So I decided I wanted to become a pageant coach. I had no idea what I would do to get started on that.
Yes.
But over time, in the last few weeks, I've had mothers come to me and ask me to speak with their daughters about general confidence in themselves and how to be successful. And, you know, that's a start. I'm doing something.
Yeah.
It may not be under the full umbrella of my pageant coach title, but it's
it breaks
a start.
the ice.
And then I have been very fortunate. It just came out of the blue that the committee chair of the Miss Teen contestant of the Miss Teen pageant was looking for a coach for their girls. And I said, well,
there you go.
Why not me? So it's like the world makes things work for you. When you put your dreams out there, things will fall in line. So biggest thing is not to worry too much about how you're going to get started, but just make a start.
I'm glad that you're in touch with energies.
Yes.
They fall in line.
They do.
Tell us about your platform and how it assisted you in bringing more awareness during your reign.
My platform has been to advocate for at-risk youth in the Cayman Islands. Because we are such a blessed country, we tend to think that there aren't many at-risk youths, but we do have quite a significant amount. So I started the Youth Revolution Initiative last year to help provide opportunities for at-risk youth to gain more exposure and more confidence in themselves to be successful and to combat all of the negative expectations that have been placed on the generations coming up. So I hosted a cooking class with Maureen Cobbins and Bon Vivant. It was really fun. We had a great time. And I also had a fitness class with Edge Athletics hosting, training the students. And I did the business etiquette side myself. And then recently I've started, I've been a mentor for a few years, but I've gone to more mentoring side of one-on-one sessions because I find that with the youth coming up now, a lot of what helps them is spending time with them.
Exactly.
Not necessarily any material aspects, but spending time with them for them to have that positive influence in their life. And so that's where I've been going with that.
Being in each other's space.
Exactly.
Instead of just on a blog. You know,
on
it's
the phone, on the computer.
Yes. Now, you entered some beauty pageants before winning Miss Cayman. In your opinion, what experience did you gain from entering those pageants prior to that it's aided in you going for Miss Cayman and ultimately winning?
A lot of it goes back to the question that you asked me before the break of how I dealt with the critique of not being that typical beauty queen in that certain mold. From entering pageants at a young age, I particularly thank the Our Little Miss pageant because that was the one that I first won and as a contestant of a bigger size.
Right.
And so from a younger age, I was able to feel that accomplishment of succeeding and winning a title by not being that typical mold of people, of judges recognizing that it's so much more than your weight and how you look. So having gone through that training, I dealt with a lot of the internal, emotional, mental, I want to say emotions that come with competing in a pageant. And once you get past all of that, it makes it so much easier to be able to do your best because you're not focusing so much on how do I look and I'm not what they want or what they're expecting, but more focusing on, you know what, I'm going to show them that I am the one that they want. that even if I'm not your typical mold, I can be all of that, what you need and more. And so it gave me a lot of confidence to be able to compete in the Miss Cayman Islands pageant.
Tell us about some of the duties a Miss Cayman Islands is expected to fulfill.
One is being a tourism ambassador for the Cayman Islands, always representing Cayman culture, Cayman kind. So I went away with the Department of Tourism as well as the Pirates Week Festival Committee to Fort Lauderdale for the inaugural flight of Southwest coming to Cayman. Mm-hmm. So that's one bracket of being Miss Cayman, is to be a tourism ambassador wherever you go, especially during the travels. 2 is to be a role model for young girls. So always carrying yourself with poise, grace, etiquette, and to strive to be the best you that you can be. And 3, I think this isn't really said, but is being a welcoming face and a shoulder to lean on for a lot of people. The people that I've met throughout my reign, a lot of them just want to have a conversation and just, talk to you and get to know you a little bit better. And even if you've had the same conversation a million times, it's the first time for that person that you're speaking with, and just being warm and friendly and open to them. And that has, truly touched my heart throughout the year.
Excellent. What is, in your opinion, the relevance of pageants in today's society?
I can give you the relevance through my own experience. Mm-hmm. It has helped me significantly in my chosen career field. Right now, I'm working in human resources at CUC, and having gone through pageants where a large component of it is the interview, it has allowed me to develop my interview skills and be able to assess candidates when they come in. So for me, pageants have a lot of transferable skills that help you throughout your career outside of pageants. Even networking, socializing, public speaking, all of those skills are transferable.
Looking at our own society, what do you believe are the biggest issues facing the Cayman Islands?
I've thought about this one a lot as well. Mm-hmm. Cayman right now is, I think, going through a huge change. I think our biggest issue outside of everything else in terms of our waste removal and the environment, we have the biggest challenge, I think, is the rapid development that we've had on island and being able to adapt to that. A lot of people have been very resistant because things are changing. But one thing I've learned in life is that change is inevitable, and the only thing constant is change. And so I think that it has been a huge shock for a lot of Caymanians, but I've seen us adapt and be able to really settle in with all of the changes that have been happening, and to learn how to adapt to it and thrive because of it.
What should Cayman kind mean to all of us, again, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I think Cayman kind is everything that has been said before me, of being friendly, open, social to everyone that we meet. But I think that in the words of that famous song, don't take my kindness for weakness. So we will be kind to you, but it doesn't mean that we're going to allow you to walk all over us, and being proud of who we are. So for me, Cayman kind is being kind to everyone, respectful, but also being proud of our culture and who we are as Caymanians.
Moving forward, what's next on your agenda?
Right now, I am in the process of writing a book.
Nice.
Yes. I have a blog, so I'm going to shamelessly put it out there. It's authenticanika.wordpress.com, and I post every week a section of the book. And at the end of the year, I will compile it all to make one final book, and it's going to be about just general pageant etiquette, tips behind the scenes, guidance for other young girls who are considering entering pageants. And if this one goes well, then I may do a second book, which will be a sort of fictional story about a girl going through a pageant and get into some really, really interesting topics. So I won't put it out there because I want to leave a surprise, but yes.
Besides what you have plans in your book, in your blogs, for those ladies who are vying for the next Cayman Islands, what would be your best advice?
My best advice would be to be bold, be brave, be open to new experiences, enjoy every moment, and be you. Mm-hmm. Most importantly, be your authentic self, because at the end of the day, no matter what happens, whether you win or lose, you will always have you, and you want to be proud of who you are and how far you've come.
Now, how would you encourage more businesses to get involved in the sponsorship of pageants and also giving back to the community through charitable deeds?
During the sashing that we had of the Miss Cayman Islands girls a few weeks ago, I brought this topic up actually in my speech. And one of the main things that I always point out for sponsorship is that you're not just giving funding for a gown or for shoes or jewelry. What you're doing is giving a contestant the confidence to be who they are and win on the stage the final night of. It's a very emotional moment, a very emotional experience to receive a sponsorship. And so I would encourage a lot of businesses to sponsor young girls, to encourage them and give them that confidence to compete. And like I said in the beginning, one of the biggest changes I've noticed with pageants over the years is the fact that we do get more involved in the community and we encourage it. So your funding as a sponsor is not just going to give confidence to this young girl to win and represent her country, but it's also going to help her advance a cause of her choosing, whether it be the Cancer Society, whether it be the Alzheimer's Association or the Humane Society, but it's going to a cause to help raise awareness of that cause. So there's a win-win for everyone involved, I think.
Exactly, of course. Now, I know you love to sing. Any albums in the works?
Not just yet. My singing has kind of taken a backseat right now as I pursue the pageant coach training and everything. So I sing mostly for enjoyment and as a hobby right now. But after I give up the crown, when I have a little bit more time, I will be focusing. And once I finish my book, too.
Maybe I can challenge you to a karaoke sing-off.
Hey, I'm always open to karaoke.
Oh my God. You want rain? It will rain.
Trust me, karaoke, I'm down. I'm ready.
Any closing words before we end this first segment?
I would like to just say a huge thank you to all of my sponsors that have been with me throughout the year, especially the major sponsors, Renaissance Salon and Spa, Edge Athletics Limited, Le Visage, Rubis, Digicel, and Logic. They have made my year so remarkably amazing that I could not have even imagined having such a remarkable year. And I just want to give them a huge shout out right now and a big thank you for believing in me and supporting in me. And I've had a really wonderful time representing as Miss Cayman Islands 2017, and I will still be around, so I won't say I miss you because I'm not going anywhere. But just a huge thank you to the Cayman Islands as well for supporting me and believing in me.
Well, it has been indeed a pleasure talking with you, Miss Cayman, Anika Connolly. And, good luck in your future endeavors. And I'm quite sure this will not be the last time we here as a team on the Business Buzz will be speaking to you.
I hope not.
Because we're going to follow you through. So, again, all success to you.
Thank you.
Coming up in the second segment, right here on the Business Buzz, we hear from the 2018 Miss Cayman Islands contestants. Over to you, Susan.
Thank you, Sabrina. And studio time by Price Right is 7:59.
Price Right is Grand Cayman's warehouse shopping superstore, making your dollar go further with huge savings and no membership fees. Get more of the things you use every day at the right price. But it's not just grocery and health and beauty. Price Right has a full range of products from office to automotive, patio furnishings to kitchen appliances, and even electronics. And since warehouse prices mean savings for you, everything is priced right at Price Right, Grand Cayman's warehouse shopping superstore.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings
Radio Cayman.
Access. Information. Your community. News and information. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. A local hospital is expanding its reach. Details from Radio Cayman's Shonda Gallego.
The Health Services Authority announces they're in the process of relocating its Public Health Administration and the Cayman Islands Cancer Registry from the Cayman Islands Hospital campus to its Smith Road Center offices. HSA says the move is part of an expansion project aimed at helping the organization meet the growing demand for services at the HSA and annual increase of Cayman's population. Officials say you can expect more space for additional rooms to expand their services, which may help to reduce waiting times and improve the patient experience. Public health services such as immunizations for adults and children, including travel health clinic and school entry screening, respectively, are still available at the Cayman Islands Hospital. The new Public Health Administration and Cancer Registry offices are located on the second and third floor of the Smith Road Center, respectively. Shonda Gallego, Radio Cayman News.
An update now on the South Sound Boardwalk. Here's Radio Cayman's April Cummings.
The new boardwalk is designed to provide the public with a continuous area to enjoy views of the sea, with a 1,500-foot-long boardwalk that will include a bike lane, 3 major beach access points, and parking. It will extend from the public boat ramp to just east of the shoe tree, which has been incorporated into the boardwalk's design. The boardwalk will also provide walkers with a protected path away from vehicular traffic. During construction, there is some safety fencing in place, but members of the public can still access the water from the public boat ramp. Construction began back in February, and the project is expected to be complete at the end of August. April Cummings for Radio Cayman News.
In regional news, a coalition of non-governmental, religious, and private sector groups has warned Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness that the declining public confidence in Jamaican authorities is now approaching crisis proportions. In an open letter to Holness this week, the Jamaica Umbrella Group of Churches, National Integrity Action, the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, and the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce said that they recently convened a meeting to examine the depth of the long-standing erosion of public trust in institutions of government. According to the groups, the meeting was pushed by allegations relating to Petrojam, and they agreed on the importance of urgent measures to strengthen integrity as well as good governance. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC who will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News. Israeli Arabs have condemned a new law that enshrines Israel as the nation-state of the Jewish people. The law strips Arabic of its designation as an official language and determines that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. Palestinian members of the Knesset called the legislation racist and undemocratic. The European Commission is advising EU countries to speed up preparations for a no-deal Brexit. It's warned that if no agreement is reached, then there could be disruption at borders, as well as consequences for aviation and pharmaceutical testing. Police in England investigating the nerve agent attack earlier this year on a former Russian spy and his daughter believe they have identified the perpetrators, according to a British news agency. Detectives think several Russians targeted Sergei and Yulia Skripal in Salisbury. Syrian rebels are reported to have reached a deal with Syria's government to surrender the southwest province of Quneitra. In what's being seen as a significant success for President Assad, the deal is reported to allow for 2 army brigades to move back into the area for the first time since 2011. Ethiopia has appointed an ambassador to Eritrea, its first in 2 decades. Last week, the leaders of both countries signed a declaration officially ending their border war. The Japanese authorities are trying to cope with a deadly heat wave, less than 2 weeks after being hit by the worst floods in 40 years. So far this week, 20 heat-related deaths have been reported. More than 2,000 people have been taken to hospital. 13 basketball players and 2 coaches have been suspended for a mass brawl during a World Cup qualifier match between the Philippines and Australia. Officials spent more than 30 minutes trying to separate members of both teams, who were punching, kicking and throwing chairs. BBC News.
Access. Information. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
It's hard. Being a parent is demanding, not to mention trying to keep a roof over our heads and food on the table. I needed help, and the Ministry of Education was able to provide it for my child to attend preschool. From one parent to another, if you need the financial help, submit your application today to find out if you qualify for preschool funding assistance.
If you have a child who is 3 years old but not yet 4 by September the 1st, you may be eligible to receive funding. Application forms can be collected from the Government Administration Building, the Department of Education Services, all early childhood centers, and may be found on the Ministry of Education's website at www.education.gov.ky. If you need more information about this government assistance program, please do email ecap@gov.ky. That's ECAP@gov.ky, or call 244-5724.
Global stock markets were drifting lower today as investors awaited further moves in global trade disputes with the U.S., mulling whether to impose new tariffs on autos and auto parts. Its trading partners in Europe and Asia could retaliate in kind, denting one of the key drivers of global growth. Keeping score, European markets traded mostly lower early today, with France's CAC 40 down 0.4% at 5,426. Germany's DAX fell 0.3% to 12,726, but Britain's FTSE 100 added 0.2% to 7,689. Futures augured a lukewarm start on Wall Street, with S&P futures down 0.2% and Dow futures down 0.1%. In Asia's day, markets there finished mostly lower, with Japan's Nikkei 225 losing 0.1% to 22,764, while South Korea's Kospi shred 0.3% to 2,282. Hong Kong's Hang Seng fell 0.4% to 28,010, while the Shanghai Composite Index slipped 0.5% to 2,772. In energy, benchmark U.S. crude lost 70 cents to $68.06 per barrel in electronic trading on the New York Mercantile Exchange. On Wednesday, the contract rose 1% to finish at $68.76 a barrel in New York. Brent crude, used to price international oils, fell 73 cents to $72.17 per barrel in London. It added 1% to settle at $72.90 a barrel on Wednesday. And in currencies, the dollar rose to 113.04 yen from 112.85. The euro weakened to $1.1601 from 1.1638.
Young World Fashion Closing Sale is on now. Take 50% of all items. Ladies, 50% of all skirt sets, band sets, casual and work blouses, skirts and dresses. For the men, dress suits as low as $87.50. Shirts, dress and casual pants. 50% of all children blue school sweaters, white shirts and polo shirts, white blouses and khaki pants. 50% off everything in the store. Sale ends August 18th. Young World Fashions is located on Eastern Avenue, or call 949-6313.
Hey, young world, the world is yours. Your weather update after 8 is brought to you by Brand Source Home Gallery, creating elegant bathrooms with European-style fixtures and fittings.
When it comes to designing a kitchen or a bath, functionality and style should be at the center of your design. Declutter, improve lighting, change cabinets, increase storage, and show your style with the help from experts at Brand Source Home Gallery. Save 20% on the finest cabinets and fixtures this July for Kitchen and Bath Month at Brand Source. The design team can help create the perfect personal spa retreat and help design your functional kitchen, whether designing from scratch or renovating your home. Stop by Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, to save 20% on kitchen and bath cabinets and fixtures.
Pleasant good morning. Time now for the latest weather report. Current temperature is 84 degrees. Relative humidity is 89%. Barometric pressure 30.00 inches and rising. The wind is east-northeast at 3 knots. Overnight low temperature was 79 degrees. Synopsis indicate isolated showers along with light northeasterly winds and slight seas expected for the next 24 hours as a weak ridge extends over the northwest Caribbean. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area moving west to southwest. Now, the forecast for the Cayman Islands for today, calling for partly cloudy skies with a 40% chance of morning showers, and temperatures will rise to the low 90s with a heat index of 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Your winds will be northeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of showers and temperatures falling to the upper 70s. Your winds will be northeast at 5 knots or less, and seas will be smooth to slight with wave heights of less than 2 feet. Low tide will be this morning at 9:54, high tide this afternoon at 4:48, and a low tide again tonight at 10:46. The sun will set this evening at 4 minutes after 7 and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:58. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Saturday morning.
Update after 8 is brought to you by Brand Source Home Gallery, creating elegant bathrooms with European-style fixtures and fittings.
Good morning once again, and time now to take a look at what's happening on our roads. On Cool Road, some sections moderate, other sections steady traffic. In and out of Georgetown on Shedden Road, things are looking pretty good as traffic is moderate, and moderate flow of traffic coming from Georgetown heading to West Bay on the West Bay Road, and traffic is also light to moderate heading towards Georgetown from West Bay in front of the Ritz. On Shamrock Road, not looking too bad as traffic is moderate, as well as on Linford Pearson Highway. From the West Bay four-way stop, light to moderate traffic flow. Godfrey Dixon Way and Eastern Avenue, moderate flow of traffic. Steady traffic coming off Bobby Thompson Way and also on Huldah Avenue. Thomas Russell Avenue and Elgin Avenue, things are looking moderate. And that's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12 for another look at traffic. Remember to buckle up.
This weekend,
Cayman Up Close, a weekly special feature from Radio Cayman News.
I'm Shanda Gallego.
Shanda Gallego goes behind the scenes with Cayman's newsmakers, artists, and emerging talent to get their unique and personal experience, their real story.
This week, we turn the spotlight.
Sundays at noon, 6:10 p.m. and 10:10 p.m. and always online at radiocayman.gov.ky. Tune in for Cayman Up Close.
Cayman Up Close, brought to you by Cayman National Bank, proudly serving the Cayman Islands for over 40 years.
In local sports, 14 of Stingray Swim Club's senior swimmers got the experience of a lifetime when they attended the University of Northern Colorado's summer camp. The swimmers transitioned from training at sea level to training at 4,664 feet in the mountains. But it wasn't all hard work. Woven into the 13 days they were on the grounds were incredible experiences and activities. The swimmers lived on campus in the University of Northern Colorado's dorms for 2 weeks. Stingray's head coach David Pursley says the campus life experience gave the athletes a little taste of college.
I actually got to talk to a few college coaches, get a feel for what the college coaches are looking for in athletes and what it's like to have just living dorm life. So we were staying in the dorms on the campus, and they had to do their own laundry, and they had to, like I said earlier, pick out their own food, manage their diet, and everything else. So they had a schedule they had to stick to. So it did give them a little taste of what college life would be like.
For more information on the Stingray Swim Club, head to caymanswimming.com. In international sports, 13 basketball players and 2 coaches were suspended and fined today, and sanctions were imposed on the national federations of the Philippines and Australia after a brawl during an Asian qualifier for the Sports World Cup. Video of the brawl on July 2nd was widely played around the world, with punches thrown, chairs tossed at players from the crowd, and security needed to restore order. And women's bobsledders wanted a second medal event at the Olympics, and it's going to happen. It's just not exactly what everyone wanted. Monobob, a one-person sled, is being added to the slate of women's competitions for the 2022 Beijing Games after the International Olympic Committee decided Wednesday to include that among 7 new medal events for the next winter program. Some of the sport's premier drivers, most notably Elena Myers-Taylor of the U.S. and Kaylee Humphries of Canada, were lobbying for a 4-woman event to be added instead.
Welcome back to the Business Buzz, the business topics that matter, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local business environment. Cayman's Business Buzz.
Welcome back to the Business Buzz right here on Radio Cayman. I'm your host, Sabrina Turner, and continuing to keep the spotlight on Miss Cayman Islands pageant in this second segment. And you know how does Miss Cayman Islands pageant shape the future pageant winners? What opportunities are afforded to winners? Former Miss Cayman Beauty winners have gone on to enjoy many rewarding careers and become successful entrepreneurs. In this segment, we put the spotlight on the pageant, and I'm pleased to have some of the ladies who are vying for the 2018 crown to share some insight from, what it's bring to them, what it's put on the table to them most recently. And also, Miss Anika Connolly has decided to stay on with us to, again, continue and mentor these young ladies as they vie for the crown. I'm pleased to have chairperson of Miss Cayman Islands pageant as deputy, Miss Latrice Haylock, also in studio with me. Ladies, good morning, and it's a pleasure to have you here.
Good morning. Good morning.
Now, starting from my right, I'll allow you to introduce yourself to a listening audience.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kaylin Jackson. I'm 19 years old, and I'm contestant number 1. And I'm coming to you from my home district, Savannah, Town.
Good morning, Cayman. Happy Friday, Junior. I'm Vanessa Douglas. I am proudly sponsored by Partyville, and I am reigning from the district of Georgetown.
Good morning, Cayman. My name is Natisha Foster. I am 26 years old. I am proudly sponsored by Edie's Decor and representing the beautiful district of Georgetown.
Excellent.
Good morning, Cayman. This is your 20-year-old contestant number 6, Tiffany Connolly, and I am sponsored by Bacardi Cayman Distributors.
Oh, Ms. Haylock, why not? Just continue.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm actually a 2-time contestant and actually one of those young women who have benefited from this pageant. As many of you may know, I was contestant number 1 in 2015 and 2016, was it? And now I am the deputy director of the Miss Cayman Islands pageant.
There you go. And again, one and only,
the reigning Miss Cayman Islands 2017, Anika Connolly, and the crowd goes wild. Sorry. I had to put a little laughter in there.
Now, let's take it back a little bit. Give us some historical perspectives and milestone of Miss Cayman Islands pageants.
So, the pageant began right back in 1977, which was the first ever pageant. And as I understand, a lot of the queens who were selected were done through a selection process, and it was not as big of a pageant as it is now, especially being what our community was, a Christian conservative place. So I can just imagine, and I've heard stories of, past Miss Cayman Islands, back in the, 70s and 80s where they held this pageant at the agriculture show. And sometimes some of the girls entered on the day of. But now, fast forward to recent times, we had a hiatus when Lindsay Japal was the queen, and she was the queen for 3 years. And after that, we came back with a boom in 2014. We had a really great committee, and they really launched the pageant into, the 21st century with, social media and the website and going live and the live voting. And, here we are now, 24 days away from the pageant, where we'll be crowning the 2018 winner. Of course, we had, after the hiatus, we had Tony Chisholm, who won, Monique Brooks, and then, of course, we have Miss Anika Connolly here. So I think that Anika is definitely raising that bar of, who Miss Cayman should be. So I think these girls definitely have a challenge, so good luck to you all.
No pressure. None at all. What kind of work goes into putting on a pageant such as this?
All right, so I'll tell you from the back what the audience does not see and what the contestants may not even see is that there are a team of dedicated volunteers who meet, bi-weekly. We are the ones who, come up with the schedule of training. We look out for other volunteer trainers, especially in speech training. So I want to say thank you to the Toastmasters who have been on board for the past 3 years with us. We have runway training that the girls have to do as well, and this focuses on stage presence and performance on the night of the pageant. And then, of course, there are appearances that the girls do, such as something like this today, or whether it's a fundraising event, and photo shoots. And these are all planned. A lot of the times we try to, get every aspect of it sponsored. And again, that is a entirely different avenue when you go in looking at sponsorship, of these, because this is people either sponsoring their time or sponsoring a gift in kind or a training, or sometimes it's financial sponsorship. But it does take work leading up to that decision to get to that point and those agreements. So, and then other than creating this path and this training and this program for these young women, then it's after the queen is crowned, her schedule and her continuous training and her events and appearances. And then we also try to, kind of create a path as well for the first and second runner-up. And then all the gifts that come along on the night and, arranging the pageant. And the event itself is curated to be an experience. So that's a whole other aspect of, organization and getting a team together to set that night up.
Okay. So let's hear a little bit from these ladies and talk about some of their platforms. For those ladies who are with us, we know that we have a number who are not able to make it with us, but for those ladies who were able to make it, we'd like to know about their platforms. And I encourage each and every one of you to like us on Facebook. We're streaming live. Also YouTube. This is the first time ever. So ladies, it had to take beauty queens for us to go live. Can you imagine? That's what Susan threw at me this morning. But, I think let's see what our fans say, whether, they like this or they just like the way you can listen to radio. Now you can view what's going on right here in the studio via YouTube. But let's start with Miss Kaylin Jackson, hailing from the beautiful district of Boddentown and proudly sponsored by AAA Caregivers. Let us know what is your chosen platform.
Okay, so the platform given to us since we started the pageant was the Alzheimer's and Dementia Association. So we're raising awareness for that, and we go to the memory cafes held the first Saturday of every month, and we interact with our elderlies that are suffering with Alzheimer's and dementia. And upon that, when joining the pageant, we also bring our own platforms that we want to bring awareness for. So my platforms that I want to bring awareness for would definitely have to be the education system and sexual abuse within our country. Those are the two most major platforms that I feel most passionate about, because it is a problem. Well, not really a problem, but it is an issue within our country that I feel like we should bring more awareness for.
That's Miss Kaylin Jackson, contestant number 1, hailing from the district of Boddentown. Let's move on to contestant number 3, Miss Vanessa Douglas, 20-year-old, and she's from district of Georgetown, sponsored by the Partyville. What's your chosen platform?
Well, my chosen platform would have to be suicidal tendencies, because I think it's such an unrecognized issue that is really, the rate is going up by the year so high. For example, in Cayman, there has been so many suicidal, not attempts. There has been so many people who committed suicide for such a small island. I think it's really heartbreaking to know that there's at least more than, or that there is even one somebody that committed suicide. And I think that it's not only in Cayman, but worldwide, because people are going or facing battles on a daily basis, and they put on a show. Every single one of them put on a show, and you're not able to really see what's really going on behind closed curtains. So I think if if we raise awareness and start an association or more associations for those people, they would kind of feel more comforted or more acknowledged of their issue, and probably the rate would go down.
Okay. Thank you so much. Contestant number 4, I'll turn the mic over to you, Ms. Natisha Foster, 26-year-old, hailing from the District of Georgetown and sponsors by Edie's Decor. What's your chosen platform?
Just 2 years ago, I had a very close family member that had a mental breakdown. And I freaked out. Like, I didn't know what to do because I didn't understand the situation. I wanted to enter Miss Cayman for a very long time, and I've been contemplating what my platform should be and what I should bring to the table for my Caymanian society. So I decided to choose the mental illness awareness just because it's something that could happen to anyone. And a lot of times we as society, we look down on those illnesses and we say, okay, these people are just being dramatic, or they could just snap out of it. It doesn't happen like that. So I just wanted to bring that to the table, and also just to collaborate the art therapy in it as well. So I just want to collaborate with the existing mental institutions in the Cayman Islands, like the hospital or the newly built institution that's going to be in East End. So I just wanted to bring that to the table.
Thank you, Ms. Foster. Ms. Tiffany Connolly, 20 years old, hailing from the District of West Bay, proudly sponsored by Bacardi and Cayman Distributor Group.
Yes, ma'am. Like Kaylin mentioned, we were given a platform this year as contestants in the pageant, and that's the Alzheimer's and Dementia Association. So we've been really advocating for them and trying to bring awareness, like Kaylin said, and just to be involved with them, and not only during the pageant, but I hope to continue that after the pageant as well, because we really do need to remember that it's said all across the world, once a man, twice a child, and we have to remember that in our olden age, we have to remember that they once were young and they helped us, and they've set many foundations for us to be where we are today. My personal platform, I've always been advocating for the youth. I say that the age group between 13 and 17, I call it the forgotten years. Many times we have things that are directed for children younger than that age group and older than that age group. And we're not often focusing on the 13 to 17 age group, where many things are happening. That's when you start to see children falling under peer pressure, and they're not sure of where to go because they're too young to do certain things, and they're also not old enough to make big life changes. But we do need to protect them because that's such a tender age, and I think that we as a community need to help and support that age group.
Thank you, Tiffany. Now, Ms. Anika, ultimately, only one young lady can wear the crown. But what would you say to others who may not secure the crown this time around?
Well,
no pressure.
No pressure, but it is a daunting task or a daunting experience and challenge when the night of the pageant comes and they announce the winner and it's not you. And you feel a sense of defeat. You feel a sense of sometimes relief. And I have experienced this because I entered the pageant twice. And what I will say to the girls is that don't let it end there. You have gone through an amazing journey leading up to the pageant. You have made new friends. You have grown as a person. You have dreams and aspirations that you have publicly spoken about. You have put it into the universe, the energies.
Yeah.
And just because you don't win that official title of Miss Cayman, it doesn't mean that you won't be successful in any other area of life. You can go on and pursue your dreams and become successful in your own way. So don't give up is my advice. And Latrice is a prime example of someone who hasn't given up and who, in my eyes, has been very, very successful. Some days I'm just amazed at how much she's accomplishing in her life. And that's what I would like for the girls who may not win the crown to remember and to keep in mind to not give up.
Well said. You got to listen. Listen closely.
And then you go back in again.
Exactly. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, I'll be asking individual questions to these young ladies here. And you want to stay tuned because I could come out of left field. Let's see how they can handle a little pressure. Keep it locked to Radio Cayman's Business Buzz for more when we come back.
Hi, my name is Diane Manderson. My agent, Teddy Clayton from Pan American Insurance, was there for me from day one of my accident on October 2017. And up until now, I have been compensated for my pain and suffering. I would recommend Pan American Insurance. Contact agent Teddy Clayton on 917-4860.
Radio Cayman, your number one community station, would like to remind you that we are in the hurricane season, and in order to survive a hurricane, you need to be prepared. If officials' sources say a hurricane is imminent, please board up or shutter up windows in your home or place of business. Remember to use good lumber, as makeshift boarding may actually cause more damage. Also put strong bracing on outside doors so that they are not blown off or blown in.
This hurricane advice was brought to you by Radio Cayman, your caring community radio station.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Welcome back to the Business Buzz, the business topics that matter, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local business environment. Cayman's Business Buzz.
Welcome back to the Business Buzz, continuing with my conversation with some of the ladies vying for the 2018 crown in studio. I am pleased to put the spotlight and talk about the upcoming Miss Cayman pageant that takes place August the 11th at the Westin Hotel. And you know what? For those persons who are just really got their outfit, their group of friends, they know who they're cheering for, but forgot one of the most important things. They didn't buy their ticket yet. How can persons get their tickets?
All right, so this year we're doing it a little bit different, of course, because we are super limited to 500 seats. So you have to purchase your tickets at our outlets, which are Sand Angels and Funky Tangs, because we just want to make sure that it all goes well. We're not giving the contestants the responsibility to sell tickets because that's an additional sort of thing. You know, we're not trying to reserve any tickets. We just, once you purchase it, you got your ticket and you have your seat. We just want to make sure that that happens. So yeah, guys, just make sure you get your tickets at Sand Angels and Funky Tangs.
Okay, thank you. Now I'm going to speak to some of these ladies and just ask them individual questions. And I'll start with Miss Vanessa. Yes, contestant number 3, Vanessa Douglas. What concerns you most about what's happening in the world today?
I think what concerns me the most is the level of violence. I think it's so crazy. We're all a part of one world, but yet we fight against each other so much. And I think I'm trying to, let me go on a local base. I think there has been so many robbery in Cayman for the past, between the past 2 months. I think it's really crazy because, I mean, as I always say, we're such a small island. Certain things I don't think should be happening. I don't think it should be happening in general. But I mean, as such a small society, you know, everybody knows everybody. We're practically a family, but yet there's so many violence going on. And I think that most of the times it has to do with the media because, you know, the media portrays, I think these days it portrays so many negative things and it kind of overweighs the positive. So, you know, people kind of think, oh, the media is just generally a negative thing because people don't really use the media to portray positive as much as they do with the negatives. So I do think that's one of the biggest contributions to violence, to be honest.
Thank you so much. I'll pose my question now to contestant number 4, Ms. Natisha Foster. how did you view pageants before you decided to enter Miss Cayman Islands?
Before entering the Miss Cayman Islands universe, I didn't really see pageant as just the glitz and the glamour. I always look up to anybody that enters the Miss Cayman Islands or the Miss Universe. I always thought that, wow, it must be so nice to be such a role model to people like me. And I always wanted to be a role model to younger children and also just children like me as well, just to be the voice for those that can't speak for themselves. And that's basically how I saw a pageant, just to be a role model for those in the world and to uplift and to be encouragement for the youths.
Thank you so much. Contestant number 1, Miss Kaylin Jackson, sponsored by AAA Caregivers. Your question now, my dear. How important is literacy to our personal growth, culture, and development?
Okay, so since dropping my wishes to pursue law, joining when I went to UCCI, I decided to go into the literature program. And since becoming a literature student, I know that it definitely helped me become more aware of my values. And with my fellow students that did literacy in UCCI, and there's a very small amount, it definitely helped us all become more aware of ourselves and what we want in life, because of how much literature calls on your culture. It really does. It tells you a lot about where you come from, the past, even the present, and that's how I feel. That's why I feel it's very important to your own personal growth. And our culture, how we know about our culture and keep our culture alive, is pretty based on literature also. Yes. I mean, from local folklores or tales from our elders and whatnot. They put that down in books for us. And I would encourage anyone to read more local literature, because they are out there. There are a lot of local authors, like our president at UCCI, Dr. Roy Bodden. Mm-hmm. And it is very important to our development, because it does open a wide range of career opportunities. You don't only have to go into literature like me, who wants to be a literature professor. You can go into film, you can be a journalist, become more aware of your culture or everywhere else. And it definitely helps with your vocabulary, I would say. And I feel like there should be more literature programs to help our youth and in becoming more aware and more educated, and basically just keeps them away from trouble.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Contestant number 6, Ms. Tiffany Connolly. What more can be done to positively impact the youth of Cayman and also take care of our elderly?
Well, as I said earlier, once a man, twice a child. We have to take that same energy and effort when raising a newborn child and bring it over to when we're caring for our elders. Our youth are becoming more detached from the past generations of our country, and if we teach our students about the history of their country, I believe that we'll help them to connect and find similarities between our elders and themselves, and possibly spark an interest to find out more. We have students that are willing to be involved, but we have to pursue and we have to present those opportunities for them to do so. I think that just educating our students about our past and our history will help them to see how important it is to be a part of it.
Another question for you. If you were a judge at a beauty pageant, what qualities would you look for in the overall winners of this pageant?
I think as a judge, they usually look for confidence, but I think that's oversaid. I think me as a judge personally would look for someone who is aware of who they are, who's connected to who they are as themselves, and knows what they stand for and stands for it firmly.
Ms. Latrice.
Yes.
Who are some of the sponsors that are making this event all possible?
Wow. Okay. So we have lots of sponsors. So I definitely have to say all the contestant sponsors, of course. So we have AAA caregivers, we have Partyville, we have Edie's Decor, CDG, we have Kirk Freeport doing all the makeup and is also one of the girls' sponsors. We have Impressions, who are the girls' hair and makeup. Just hair. We have King Sports Center, who's come on board for gym membership for these young ladies. Of course, the venue, Weston. Let's see, who else am I forgetting here? There's just so many people who have come on board. KK Sunshine Luxury Charters, who just took the girls out on an amazing boat trip. We had Rum Point, who sponsored the lunch.
Ministry, the big.
Of course, we have the ministry. Oh, yes. How can I forget? The tourism ministry, Department of Tourism. We have media sponsors such as Radio Cayman, and we also have DMS as well. The list here can go on. Right. So I just want to use this opportunity. If I did miss anyone on that list there, thank you all for sponsoring the Miss Cayman Islands Universe pageant. And, we're just thrilled that you all sponsors can just be a part of this journey for these young women.
Thank you. Ms. Douglas, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the importance of preserving our heritage and culture.
Oh, that's such a good question. We spoke about that the other day. I think it's so important to bring the Caymanian culture going forward because I personally think Cayman is becoming a bit Americanized and it's defeating our culture because, the tourists come here from America and, other places to experience a Caribbean culture. And, they come here because they love the relaxed culture of Cayman. So I think it's very important to continue our culture for, tourism and also just to preserve the culture for our Caymanian youth coming forward in general.
Okay. Thank you so much. I will ask, excuse me, Ms. Connolly, how is social media enhancing or affect? Oh my gosh, we got two. Contestant number 6, please. How is social media enhancing or affecting our lives? Understanding that I'm used to listening to radio, but now we're streaming, so you can actually watch radio.
Okay. I think social media is like everything. Everything in good measure can be good or bad. Too much of something can be bad, just like too much of water can be bad. That being said, I think social media needs to be used to advocate for things. I think it is a great platform when it is used for that purpose. However, it is also used to showcase the negative things. Mm-hmm. We mentioned that earlier, that social media sometimes has a way of portraying the negative things faster and more often than our positive news. I think if we were to have more classes and have that as a part of our curriculum, maybe for our students to understand that what they put on the internet is there forever. Mm-hmm. And they need to know that if you put something negative out there, that's going to circulate and that's going to keep on coming back to them. But if they put positive things out, it's just like when you follow positive pages, those are the people who usually find you and follow you back. And those are the things that pop up on your news feed. So if you can control what you follow and what you search for, it's going to find you.
No wonder all of these recipes keep coming up on my Facebook page.
Yeah, because I like food pages.
Keep it locked to more of the Business Buzz when we come back after these few messages.
Did you know that recycling collection containers are located island-wide on Grand Cayman? The Department of Environmental Health's program is an integral part of DEH's waste management responsibility in the Cayman Islands. Start your recycling program at home today. Put your type 1 and 2 plastics in appropriate DEH recycling containers at all Foster's supermarkets, Kirk Market, or Hurley's Grand Harbor. Please keep the Cayman Islands clean. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. For more information about recycling, go to www.deh.gov.ky.
89.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecasts, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM.
We are Radio Cayman, and this is how we wake you up in the morning. Praise time. Praise time on Radio Cayman.
Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I'm gonna walk them golden stairs, 'cause I know my Jesus answers all my prayers.
Praise time.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
Praise time.
There's nothing to go back to. Give me Jesus in the morning. For the God of the mountain is still God in the valley.
Shout with joy to God, all the earth sing glory to His name. Praise time. Praise time.
Jesus in the morning, yeah.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
Welcome back to the Business Buzz, the business topics that matter, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local business environment. Business Buzz.
Welcome back to the Business Buzz and keeping our conversation in the spotlight on Miss Cayman Islands pageant. Did you know in 1977, the first ever Miss Cayman Islands pageant began an annual tradition that would become the most highly anticipated national event. For 30 plus years, Cayman has grown some of the most intelligent, poised, and beautiful women to represent our country. This event is just one of many traditions to showcase our national pride and has truly evolved into a powerful organization. The Miss Cayman pageant supports opportunities for young women to become true ambassadors locally and internationally for the Cayman Islands. I'm pleased to be joined in studio this morning by 4 contestants who are vying for the 2018 crown, and Miss Anika Connolly, our outgoing Miss Cayman, who will giving up and passing on the baton August the 11th at the Westin Resort. And, just getting to know some of our contestants a bit more this morning, it is a pleasure to be able to have that opportunity. Now, let's ask Miss Douglas. I want to get, yes, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go there, Vanessa. With the worldwide refugee crisis, do countries have an obligation to accept refugees or the right to close their borders? What's your take on that?
In my opinion, we had a world without borders. But so I personally think borders aren't really necessary. We're already separated by sea. Well, some countries are separated by sea. So I don't think it's really necessary to create a whole border. For example, Donald Trump creating the whole the wall between the United States and Mexico. I think it has contributed to more violence. It has also, decreased the flexibility of transporting between both Mexico and the United States. And also it has been diminishing our natural environment. So I'm yet to see any positive from the whole border. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I completely disagree with it.
Okay. Thank you. I will start, and I would like the response from all of you to this one question that will be posed, starting with contestant number 1. If you have the opportunity to have a conversation with all of the world leaders, what topic would you like to talk about? Contestant number 1, Ms. Kaylin Jackson, firstly.
Okay, so if I had the opportunity to talk with all of the world leaders, I would definitely want to talk about unity. I feel like we all are humans. We are all on this earth for a reason. And yes, we have our different cultures, our different nationalities, different languages that separates us. But first and foremost, we all are humans, and we all, bleed the same color. We all breathe the same air. And unity will definitely, if that's put in place more often, it would definitely decrease the level of violence or the level of the wars, and it would give us an opportunity to just come together and work together as a team to figure out different ways or solutions to end issues within our world.
Okay, thank you. Miss Vanessa Douglas, if you had an opportunity to have a conversation with all of the world's leaders, what topic would you like to talk about?
I think Caitlin's in my head. I strongly support the whole unity thing. Also because the lack of unity is what's causing so much violence, I mean, the world wars, all that. We're one complete world, We're all created by the same God. As Caitlin said, we all bleed the same blood. We're already separated, unfortunately, by race. The racism is so common in today's society. You'd think it would decrease, but it's actually increasing. Right. So I think if we're unified as a world, it would decrease violence, and I think the world will be so much of a better place. Also, I'd also speak about the environment, because we're living here. We need to survive on this world in a healthy way. So I would speak on mostly global warming, coming together to create some way to decrease that whole global warming issue.
Thank you, contestant number 3, Miss Vanessa Douglas. Over to contestant number 4, Miss Natisha Foster. If you had the opportunity to have a conversation with all of the world's leaders, what topic would you like to talk about?
I would personally like to talk to all the world leaders about the young people of our generation. I think it's so important to secure those of this generation, such as myself, and also the upcoming generation, because it's so easy to kind of leave them in the dark with all the social media and everything that's going on in the world. What are we doing to secure those of this generation? I believe it's so important, because in today's life, in today's generation, I think that it should be a topic that's more talked about, where we're securing everything else. I think they're working towards it, but I would definitely like to bring that to all the world leaders.
Thank you, Miss Natisha Foster. Over to Miss Tiffany Connolly.
Yes, ma'am. So I don't think I would actually want to talk about a specific topic if I was in the room with all of the world leaders. I think I would want to ask them 3 questions. What would they want to be remembered as they leave that position? What one thing do they want people to remember them as? What do they wish they had when they were growing up? Who was a world leader they looked up to? What characteristics do they have that are similar to that person? And also, who are they helping? Because if they can't answer in saying, I'm trying to help everyone, then maybe they should think about that.
Thank you, contestant number 6. I'll go to the other Connolly, Miss Anika. As the current and outgoing Miss Cayman Islands, what can we expect from your farewell speech? You're just trying to give me a little heads up.
Well, I want it to be a surprise, so I won't delve into too much detail about it. But it's hard to sum up a year and a few months in 2 minutes of speech. But my speech will essentially give my thanks to my country and to all of the people who have supported me throughout my reign. And there's a few other surprises in there, but like I said, I wanted to keep it a surprise because I want everybody to purchase their tickets from Funky Tangs and Sand Angels ahead of August 11th and come out on the night of to see all of the girls vying for the title and then hear my final speech.
There we go. Ladies, contestant number 1. Why should you be selected to be crowned the next Miss Cayman Islands? That's to Miss Kaylin Jackson, contestant number 1.
Okay, so I'll start by saying who I believe Miss Cayman Islands should be and the characteristics that I think that she should have. I do agree with I think it was you that said it, or Latrice, where Anika left a really high bar for us, and one of us that wins to live up to that. I feel that Miss Cayman Islands should definitely be very in tune with her culture. We in Cayman, we do have a very beautiful culture and a very beautiful island. We should be very educated and aware of certain issues within our country and around the world. And she should always be determined to be a great ambassador for her island and always try her best to break down barriers. And I do feel like I possess some of those traits, and I am willing to grow in that field as well, because I am very passionate about being a great ambassador for my country and leaving a great mark for my country.
Thank you, Miss Kaylin Jackson, 19 years old, hailing from the district of Boddentown, and is proudly sponsored by AAA Caregivers. I'll ask the same question to Miss Vanessa Douglas, who's contestant number 3, 20 years old, hailing from the district of Georgetown and sponsored by Partyville. Why should you, Miss Douglas, be selected to be crowned the next Miss Cayman Islands?
Well, as the next Miss Cayman Islands, I would like to touch on every single issue that Cayman is facing. Because, as an ambassador for Cayman Islands, you have to be able to correct what's going on in the Cayman Islands, even if, it's not the easiest thing, but it's nothing tried, nothing done. Mm-hmm. So, as the next Miss Cayman, I'd like to try to fix every issue. I'd love to represent Cayman on an international stage, just to share beautiful Caribbean culture, our diverse culture with the other Miss Universe contestants. Also, I'd like to be a role model for youths in Cayman and globally, because I think that youths these days, unfortunately, they're going down the wrong path. And it would be so heartwarming to know that I was an inspiration to lead them down that positive path, Because, I've been down that road, to be honest. I've been down a dark road where I didn't know myself. And to be honest, this pageant has really helped me to know who I really am with all the questions. I really think to myself, and I'm like, well, this is really me, This is what I'm about, and I'm able to share what I'm about. And I love to continue sharing everything that I'm about, what I'm passionate about, and all that in that category with Grand Cayman and everyone else in the world.
Okay, thank you very much, contestant number 3, Miss Vanessa Douglas. Over to contestant number 4, Miss Natisha Foster, 26 years old, hailing from the district of Georgetown and proudly sponsored by Edie's Decor. Quickly, please, why should you be selected to be crowned the next Miss Cayman Islands?
I believe I should be let me start by saying I think that a Miss Cayman Islands should be a person of humanity, someone that is poised and humble. However, I believe that Miss Cayman Islands should proudly represent our country on a local and international platform, someone that is a people's person that could communicate with anybody, that's good at communication, somebody that could represent person of any kind. I believe I have those qualities to be a Miss Cayman Islands universe.
Thank you, Miss Foster. Putting the mic over to contestant number 6, Miss Tiffany Connolly, 20 years old, hailing from the district of West Bay, proudly sponsored by Bacardi Cayman Distributor Group.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Intelligence, humility, kindness, and compassion, a well-spoken young lady, someone who is aware of her flaws and qualities is someone I look up to as being our Miss Cayman. Our current Miss Cayman has those qualities. Our past Miss Caymanians have had that quality. And I think because I do also have those qualities, I would make a great Miss Cayman 2018.
Thank you, Miss Tiffany Connolly. Miss Latrice, please, because time is against us, and I'm having so much fun in all honesty. Can you recap on the venue, date of Miss Cayman Islands and where persons can purchase their tickets and their costs?
Okay, so we are 24 days out from the pageant to August 11th. So please purchase your tickets prior to that date at Sand Angels or Funky Tanks. And I just want to hope that everybody is ready. You know, make sure you have your outfits ready. Make sure you have your ticket. And those tickets are $75. It's $75 per seat. This year we do not have any various tiers. When you get in, we're going to have a cocktail reception starting at 6 o'clock. And then at 7 p.m. is showtime. So everybody, we are not starting Cayman time. We're starting on time at 7 o'clock. So please be there.
Okay. Any closing words from Miss Anika Connolly, the reigning Miss Cayman Islands 2017?
I would just like to say that I'm probably going to be very emotional on the night of. I promised myself that I wasn't going to cry, but I'm sitting here listening to all of the girls and reflecting on my experience, and I am honestly teary-eyed. You guys are doing so well. I'm so proud of each and every one of you, and I wish you all the best on the night of. And just, as I said at the beginning, I'm hoping that you're enjoying it, being your authentic selves and becoming a better person, and looking forward to representing your country on the international stage.
Ladies, it has been a pleasure speaking with each and every one of you this morning. And for those who could not be with us, that's Gabrielle Watler, that's contestant number 2, and Miss Caitlin Tyson and Miss Jazani Snyder, who could not make it with us this morning. But I want to wish each and every one of you all success for the pageant, and I'll be rooting for you all. You know, I'm going to be the bandwagonist. What do you think? I can't do it. I can't choose a
have
favorite.
All of the 7 number signs.
Yes. So, you know, I'll be the crazy lady in the crowd with all the numbers. But I want to wish you all success, and keep on your path. Keep knowing who you are and keep being who you are. And to all of you, best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure. It has been a pleasure hosting the Business Buzz, as I do every Tuesday and Thursday, and is proudly sponsored by Teddy Clayton of Pan American Insurance. To you, our supporters via YouTube, Facebook, all this streaming going on, and for those of you who continue to listen to your radio and join me every Tuesday and Thursday, thank you for your continued support. Until next week, Tuesday, have a safe and fabulous Thursday.
Business Buzz.
Business Buzz.
The Business Buzz, proudly sponsored by Teddy Clayton of Pan American Insurance, each and every Tuesday and Thursday on Radio Cayman. Call Teddy today at 917-4860.
Traveled all over the world, and I've been in love with many, many girls. Of all the girls